the shop. When we're visiting the area,
Yes.
I assume that we can go and take a tour.
Absolutely.
What do we do then?
Well, you'll go in, and actually it's open Monday through Friday from 9 to 4.
Okay.
And on, actually Saturday too, from 9 to 4. And on Sunday, it's open from 12 to 3. You'll go on a tour,
Yeah.
and while we're shut down, though, we'll have an abbreviated tour. It usually includes a film and a guided tour through different parts of the distillery, and it's a great opportunity to see things you wouldn't ordinarily see while we're operating.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you get to visit the Four Roses gift shop as well.
That's a great gift shop.
Thank you.
Yeah. But you don't need to make an appointment. You can just show up. Is it every hour? There's a tour to the hour?
There's a tour every hour,
Okay.
including the video. If you're going to have really large groups, it might be good to call ahead.
Okay.
And you can get that number off of our website, which is fourroses.us.
Amazing. What's this?
I don't know.
Well, somebody put it here. It looks like something you would have done.
It is. A number of years ago, I was asked by the then president of Four Roses, Terry Dino, to compile some things and make a history of Four Roses into book form. So that's what I did, and I put it all together. And we've got some of the very big highlights of our history as well as some of the small ones. And there's some stuff in there about Prohibition. There's stuff in there about, you know, a little bit about all of the great ads that we put out over time. You know, one of the interesting things about Four Roses is that during Prohibition, 25% of all the whiskey that was sold had the Four Roses label. So consequently, we are not afraid to say that since 1888, the brand Four Roses has been sold continually since that first trademark in 1888.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I think we need to raise a toast to that.
Well, if we're going to do that, why don't we try some of this very special product here?
I'm in.
This is what we call single barrel, our barrel strength Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey that was put out in 2011. It's a limited edition. Very small number of these bottles were made. And it has the Q yeast and the high rye mash bill. And this product, when it was put into the bottle, was 12 years old.
And every
year
you'll have a different one?
Yes. And in fact, Jim Rutledge, the master distiller, said this is the best example of that yeast he's ever smelled or tasted.
Well, let's double check on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the proof on this?
The proof on this one
Oh.
is approximately 107.4.
All right. Well, it's not. I mean, it's not 140.
No.
So, how many years and what kind of conditions do you need to go from 120 to 107?
Well, you need conditions where the water molecules evaporate first, concentrating the alcohols, and then when that's done, the concentrated alcohol molecules will also evaporate to a certain point and go through the surface of the barrel wood. And that's what we created in the Four Roses warehouses. Because every spring we come out with a single barrel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Special limited edition. It's limited release, so, you know, depending on the state, you may not get all of the allocation that you'd hope for.
Mm-hmm.
But in the fall, in addition to what we just did in the spring, we'll do a special edition of small batch. And the beautiful part about these is they're unfiltered as well as barrel strength.
Okay.
So if you like a little bit something else in your bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
this is it.
Do you think that filtering the bourbon removes its complexity?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because the filters are treated before you put the barreled bourbon through it. Otherwise, if you used an untreated filter, you would take away all the color that goes out of the barrel goods.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to be soaked in bourbon ahead of time so they don't remove all the color.
Okay.
Okay, that's one reason. The other side is that bourbon is a hardy substance. It won't lose a lot of flavor going through the filter. But in this particular case, these are only filtered in a very small way to get out the big chunks of char.
Okay.
We don't want to put a barrel in a bottle.
Right.
Okay? But basically, there might be a little char residue left in the liquid.
Well, this is lovely. A concentration of great flavors there.
And they're all the product of one barrel.
Do you see two barrels next to each other being extremely different yourself if you go and taste?
Yes. It's
Next
possible
to each other,
to do that.
coming
It's possible
from
to do
Independence Dave.
coming from the same warehouse after aging. They're going to be completely different. Every barrel has its own fingerprint. It can be attributed to where it's stored in the warehouse. Where that barrel is in the warehouse is very important. On the outside, it's going to mature faster. In the middle, it's going to take a little bit longer. The level on the rack is going to affect it a little bit. If you're at the top of the rack, you're going to go faster because the heat is more intense up there. But yeah, you can see the differences.
Is there any difference over the years between the corn, the rye, the barley?
I'm sure there has been. I can say that with some semblance of exactness because we're using the same grain sources we've had for the last 60-odd years.
All right.
So before that, maybe the grain sources were different. But we're still using number 2 dent corn. Comes out of southern Indiana. We searched the world over to find the most flavorful and robust rye. Right now it's coming out of Germany.
Okay.
And we use 6-row barley that comes out of Minnesota to make our malted barley. So those 3 grain factors do play a great part in making the flavor, but they may remain standardized for almost 60 years.
Okay. We call it the single barrel program.
There are two parts of it. The first one is what we call single barrel, which we use the same recipe as we find in our Four Roses single barrel. You select the barrel, and we'll set up some for you, 5 of them, and you'll be able to select a barrel there, and we'll do that barrel up at 100 proof.
Okay.
And you'll get to design your own label and put it on the side. But the label on the front will be the traditional Four Roses single barrel
But
label.
you've got to go through a retailer for this.
Yes.
Okay.
The other one is you get to pick one of the 10 recipes. So when you come down to Cox's Creek, or we could send you samples in the mail. Actually, we could send you samples in the mail for this as well. But if you get down for that, we'll set up 10 different barrels, each one different recipe, different mash bill, different yeast, and so forth. And you can pick the one you want out of there.
That's fantastic.
But we do that one up at barrel strength and unfiltered. And the label that goes on the front is a gold foil label. But on the side, you still get that special label made up to your liking.
Beautiful. Well, we have to go down very, very soon to pick our own brandy library barrel. Hopefully it will be to the specifications, to the taste of our customers here. Anyway, they love what's out there already. You can go specific enough with what the range has to offer, but it's always nice to have something even more special. Well, Al, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. Must be a tough life that you're running.
I couldn't put it better myself.
Yeah, right. And now, yeah. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You got enough?
Elegance and a great amount of flavors. I don't know if you would put it this way, but that's what I get out of Four Roses.
This one has flavors ranging from caramel through vanilla all the way through it. And you can pick them up. They're easy to identify. This one has the spices and the fruits, essence of red berry. In fact, if you like a cognac or a brandy, chances are you like the small batch. You like a single malt Scotch, single barrel might be your forte. But they're all good.
There's a Four Roses for each palate. Well, thank you very much. Al.
You're welcome. Enjoy.